The Daily Raz Show with Jack Wilson.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Raz Show. I'm Jack Wilson, and glad you could join us. So I want to do a podcast on, well, this is like the day after the State of the Union message. But besides that, I'll get to that in just a minute. But yesterday we went to Barnes & Noble. If you hear any clicking going on, that's probably because I'm using a Ricola, Citron, lemon, whatever. It's very good. Helps me with a dry throat. You live in New Mexico, it's very dry, and there's a lot of things going around for allergies, and I suffer from allergies. There you go. Anyway, we went to Barnes & Noble yesterday, and my wife was looking at books and things, and I kind of like to go in there and wander around too. I mean, they got 1 million books. They've got 1 million books. They have books from people, personalities that haven't even been of any significance for like 20 years. I mean, they even had books by Glenn Beck. And does anybody remember Glenn Beck? Well, he was a real right-wing personality like 20 years ago. But my point is, everybody's got a book. Tulsi Gabbard's got a book. I didn't even know Tulsi Gabbard had a book. She does. Everybody's got a book. Everybody's got a book. And these are hardcover books. They're not inexpensive. These are not paperback books. These things go for $30 to $38. So when you're buying one, you are you're supporting them, and these are influencers. So you're supporting them when you buy these books, and I guess if you buy them, then I guess you are a believer. I mean, every personality is there, plus other things. I enjoy going into Barnes & Noble once in a while. They have a lot of things, and I do read books occasionally. Probably most people, I do this. I read information off of this, and I also follow all of the news media on what's going on with in the world, on the computer, on my desktop, in my office. So, but anyway, getting back to Barnes & Noble. While my wife was looking for things, I stopped over at the newsstand and all the magazines. My God, no wonder magazines are so expensive, because I'm sure they must throw a lot of magazines away. They must trash them. So they must trash half of the magazines that are actually published. So that's probably why some of these things are so expensive. Getting back to what I did do, I stopped at the newsstand, and on the newsstand there was a USA Today. And so I just kind of looked at it. First thing I looked at was the cover price. And the cover price was $3. I mean, that's like insane. And I go back years ago when I traveled and spent a lot of my time in hotels and restaurants, breakfast, lunch, dinner, what have you. And I think I covered this in one of my other podcasts, and I read a couple of newspapers a day. One of them was USA Today. And USA Today at that time was 50 cents. So I would buy it and as I was telling Carol, my wife, they had ways back then that they published them all over the country with the news. USA Today was great. And they printed at night. When I went to breakfast in the morning, if I got there at 6 or 7 or 6 or whatever, USA Today was there in their machine, 50 cents, and I knew what happened yesterday. This was before smartphones and internet and all of that. And then I got the local publication, and that's how I stayed on top of things. However, I bought USA Today and read it. So when I was at Barnes & Noble, I saw this USA Today on the newsstand there, and there were only a couple, and I can understand why. They can't sell that many, I'm sure. But it was $3, $3. And I'm like, get out of here, forget that. I'm obviously not going to buy it. Except one of the things that caught my interest was when I looked at it, and it says, and it was one of the headline articles, after living abroad for a time, she stayed for the health care. And I'm like, what the hell is that? So I opened it up and I just took a glimpse of it. And so here we go. USA Today, that's it. It's what I'm getting prepared to read. I've not read it yet. But sorry, you were looking at my monitor there if you were watching instead of listening. But there it is. That's the USA Today. And I looked at that article and I just took a quick look inside. And it says, she was spending, just a real quick part of the initial part of the article of what she was spending, and it says she was instantly able to get her biologic for $3,000 a year. So I said, okay, I got it, I bought it, $3. Probably won't do it again unless they have something like this. And I just kind of perused it real quick. I have not read it yet. This lady was spending $36,000 a year on asthma medicine. And I was like, okay, $36,000, it must really be something cool, you know? Well, she and her husband went to France I haven't read the real reason why they went, but anyway, she went, and part of it was to do this, to get this medication one time, and they ended up staying. So what she was paying $36,000 a year here for this medication. She obtained the same medication in France for $3,000 a year. $3,000 a year. So you calculate the difference. So she and her husband, I haven't read the article yet, but I'm going to. They decided to stay. They live there now. And it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction that they decided to stay. It evolved because beginning with the medication costs, but as it turns out, all of the healthcare costs were similar, and the ability to obtain health care, good health care, they said was better than here in the United States. And look, I'm not going to be really critical of the health care in the United States. I'm sure in some places that they have great health care. I'm not in New Mexico, forget about it. It's very, very difficult to see a physician in New Mexico. But I do know in other parts of the country it's not, because I talk to my family, my brother back east, and it's not difficult to see physicians or get health care in other parts of the country. Health care in this country, I think everyone agrees, is out of sight, totally out of sight. So my question is, how is this lady able to obtain health care, the same prescription, the same medicine, for the same purposes, for a tenth of what it costs in this country? Something is totally fucked up. I don't know what it is, but I wanted to bring that up. And I think it's kind of common knowledge. Well, this goes to a lot of some of the dirty little secrets of why people are moving out of the country, and they're becoming expatriates. Nobody likes to talk about it. You don't hear much about it, but there are a lot of people that are living in other parts of the world as expatriates in other countries that have similar, if not better, systems of health care, security than we have here. We're not number one anymore. And I don't want to talk down the United States, but we're not number one anymore. And there are places that are. I don't have any desire to be moving halfway around the world. But have I looked at other places? Yes, frankly. I don't want to go anywhere. I'd like to see things fixed here in this country. So when we watch what they're saying, that the cost of everything has not changed, that's a lot of bullshit. It's BS. Wall Street is doing fantastic. I'm not going to go into finance and why they're doing fantastic, but they're doing great, and they're supporting this president because they're doing great. And there are reasons that they're doing great. And I'm not going to go into those, but I'm telling you, I'm going to give you a couple of quick examples. That we went to dinner night before last, I think. I'm not sure. But, I think it was after we went to Barnes & Noble. We went to Barnes & Noble, and it's like, where would you like to eat? And I said, okay, well, let's go to Flying Star. Carol wanted to get something sweet at pastry, and they do have great pastries. And the one particular one that we like to go to, we went to it. And I thought, well, you know what? I'll get a burger and fries and an iced tea. Well, when we got to the Flying Star, sorry if I'm mentioning names, but hey, they deserve it. I looked at the menu, and you know what? We usually go to Flying Star. I like to go there because I like to get their blueberry baby cakes, crisp bacon, and coffee. I like their coffee, and for breakfast. So sometimes once a week we'd go there for breakfast, and I would get that, and Carol would get something else. But this time we went, and I looked at the menu, and I was like, wow, hamburger, just a hamburger. I mean, this is a hamburger, nothing else. $16. And I was like, okay, well, we're here, so let's do it. So I ordered a hamburger and fries and an iced tea. Carol ordered a mac and cheese and water. It was $40 without tip. $40. Now, in some places, people may go, well, that's not that bad. Well, forget you. I remember a year ago, this burger was $12. Okay? $12 for the burger. And the fries, I didn't even look at the price. It was part of the $40 bill. But the fries were not even really fries. They were limp, wilted. But remember, this is a frozen burger. Fried, or not fried, but I think grilled, char grilled. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it's not $16 great. And the fries were limpy, wimpy. They weren't particularly greasy, but they were limpy. And it was like, if you're really hungry, you'll eat them. So, that's my point on Flying Star and what that meal cost. That it was like on a 1 to 10, I give it like a 4. And pricing, I give it pricing and quality, I give it a 2. So then I'm going to give you another example of a family-owned restaurant. I'm not going to mention their name, but a family-owned restaurant that we used to go to regularly. I mean, once a week. I really liked their enchiladas, rice, and beans. What's so special about that? Well, because they gave us whole beans, pinto beans. And I do like whole pinto beans in a Mexican meal. Well, a year ago, it was around $12, $13 for the enchilada, rice, and beans. And then, of course, I get a Coke or iced tea or whatever. It's 19, call it 20 bucks. It's $20 now. $20. How the hell do you get from $12 or $13 to $20 in a year? That's not inflation. I don't know where they're deriving this from, but it is not inflation. I think it's follow me, follow you. They look at other places on their menu and somebody else raised the price. They're going to raise the price. Well, you know what? Look. It's a Mexican dinner, and I love Mexican or New Mexico food, but I can make that at home. I really can. We're not too far off from Taco Bell on that. It's not that difficult. So we don't go there anymore, and I miss it. I really enjoyed going there. And now if I really, really want it, I'll maybe go once a month or something, but I'm not going there regularly like I used to. So as a businessman, having been in retail businesses, look, I would rather make my profits on volume and have the customer count instead of lowering the customer count and trying to raise the prices and make it there. I want the customers coming in. And somehow they're missing that concept. And the thing is that, I don't know. I mean, it seems to me that, people would be getting this whole idea and just saying enough is enough. We're not going to do that anymore. And then we, just to go kind of back on that, we did go to a new Mexican restaurant. And I have to tell you, it was really good. It really was good. But I had the same thing, kind of like an enchilada dinner. Carol had something. I mean, these are not like specialties. And then we had a dessert. It was $100 plus tip. We had no liquor. By the way, there was no liquor in any of these that I'm discussing. It was $100 plus tip. Of course, I always leave a tip. I don't think it's their fault. So, I always leave a tip. But will we go back there? You know what? That's a real question. I don't know. It was good, but was it great? I don't think so. I mean, there's only so many things you can do with that type of food. So, in my opinion, the cost of everything are like obscene on the ground level. Wall Street, yeah, hell, they're doing great. But in the stores, the markets, I mean, a steak, $29 a pound. Hamburger, $8, $10 a pound. Come on. I mean, I don't know where all this is coming from. But Donald Trump is fucking stupid. This guy doesn't have to worry about it. But these things are out there. The American people are consuming it, and they have to live with it. He's a complete moron if he thinks, prices are good. I'm sure he has no idea. A loaf of bread, I mean, come on, $5 for a loaf of bread. So I tried buying one, I don't know, several weeks ago. I have a particular brand that I like. It's not $5. Well, it is in some places. $4.50, I think, is for a loaf of wheat bread. And I'm not going to mention the brand, but there is a brand that was less. I think it was like $2.59 or $2.60. And I tried one, and it was like, threw it away. Yeah, the $4.50 a loaf of bread was way better. So I bought it. We're stuck. We're trapped. We're going to continue living. We're not going to stop living. My wife and I still continue to live, do the things we like to do, but it's way more expensive. But I guess my point is, what about people that are on fixed incomes or have incomes that are kind of controlled? And what are they doing? What the hell are they doing? What are people doing that have children, 4 children, and are trying to live what's going on? So anyway, I brought that up because of the healthcare cost. That is just a small example of those things that are really going on. So I just want to, before I close out on this, I want to just do a real quick on the State of the Union. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the State of the Union, but I kind of got pieces of it from the news like CNN, MSN, ABC, et cetera, and snippets of what was going on. I didn't want to watch it because I knew what he was going to do. I mean, for God's sake, he talked for almost 2 hours. What the hell does this guy have to say for 2 hours? Well, basically nothing. He did his typical Trump speeches where he starts talking off the teleprompter and then he moseys on off of that and starts just spitballing everything. Doesn't matter what he has to say. So he was doing his typical speeches, which are common to Trump, and they really should be scary to these Republicans that have to run for office. This guy is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs is the best way I can say it. But when I was watching these snippets of this guy, he was insulting members of Congress. Now, I'm not talking about the partisan stand up and applaud, which is normal when the left side sits down and the right side stands and applause. He was insulting people, personal insults. And then he was doing the trick things. And these, to me, became the Sieg Heil maneuvers, where he would say something and insult them. And if they didn't stand up, and the others those were what I call the Sieg Heil moments, standing up and cheering and applauding. To me, that was scary. But the main, the other thing that he was doing was insulting his own Supreme Court justices, standing there, picking them out and insulting them. And that to me was kind of unbelievable. But that's what he does. That's his trick. And this is a perfect example of an autocrat who is on the verge of a demagogue, being a demagogue, but he's aspiring. His aspirations are to be a dictator. He loves these guys. He loves it. And now, if this doesn't scare you, he is on the verge of wanting to nationalize elections in this country. I mean, that is like, bam. What the fuck is he talking about? He wants to nationalize the elections and put his jackboots police force out there watching our elections and polling places. Now, if that doesn't frighten you, I don't know what would. I don't know what would. We've seen it in Minneapolis. These thugs with their guns, their masks. You don't even know who they are. And we've seen it hauling people off without warrants. This guy is testing the waters of a national police force under him. And that's frightening. I hope people are paying attention to that. I don't know what is next. I guess we're going to sit and wait. But something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. And what needs to be done are the elections coming up. These are very important to support local and state politicians who want to get back to the government that we used to have. I'm not against Republicans. I've said it again and again and again. We need a two-party system, but we don't need sycophants for a dictator. And that seems to be the path that we're heading down. So I would hope that everybody would get out and support your politicians and at this point in time, it seems to be Democrats, would love to be able to find some Republicans who want to fight against these people. But at this point in time, it seems to be we need to get Democrats in. We need to get the Senate and the Congress changed to put this guy in a box, metaphorically speaking, where he cannot do anything. And his hands are tied. And that's only going to happen if we stop the Republicans that seem to be in fear of him from following his orders. And there seems to be a trend, a little bit of fear going on that they want to move away from supporting Trump. We'll see. I don't know. But I'm gonna cut this short and get off. Follow us on our next podcast, and follow my writings. I do write every day on dailyraz.com. You can catch my articles on X, on Facebook, and on Blue Sky. And you'll find them either under Jack Wilson or the dailyraz.com or the Daily Raz Show on YouTube. And like I say, what really got me today was the healthcare cost in this country compared to the rest of the world. It's not saying that the rest of the world is great, but there are places that are better. And I don't know, it'd be interesting to read more about it. So anyway, thank you for listening, joining us on the Daily Raz Show. Catch us on the next round. I'm Jack Wilson, Daily Raz Show. Follow me on dailyraz.com and come back again. Thanks.